Tie game in the fourth quarter, during your win streak, you've had a few comebacks certainly, but you've had some close games in there. But what did they do? How'd they play in those first three quarters? That how'd you even it?
Yeah, they had a great game plan going into it. They really played top down, didn't let us get too many explosive plays. They played really sound defense against us that last time, and they played us really well, really tough, physical. And I expect the same thing tomorrow night from them. They're going to give us all they got, and it's going to be interesting.
You guys have confidence that Jay is going to break one? That was one of those games where he had good yards early, but he didn't really break one until fourth quarter.
Right.
He did break one. You have confidence that you keep giving him the ball, he's going to break one?
Yeah, I have confidence in him that he's going to do that, and we just need to have him do his job and do what he's been doing. He's been running really well lately, and we need to continue that.
When you look back at that October game, Grant, what was that difference in the fourth quarter you felt like?
I think it was just we finished, and that was kind of been our mentality. Going into that week was finishing, and that's really what it came down to. It was a tight game really into that fourth quarter, and we just somehow found a way to keep going and found a way to win, and that's probably what's going to happen tomorrow night.
All the bowl stuff, the other stuff that's kind of potentially awaiting you guys with the victory. Has that been difficult to shut that out and just focus on the game this week?
Not really. I think just having this be the first time that we have the opportunity to win outright conference championship has been big for us. We're just trying to focus on that and not worrying about what we can't really control, past that point. So we've been focused all week on this conference championship game, and whatever happens, happens. But yeah, we've done a good job of just focusing on this week first.
Does that create any extra pressure going into this game, knowing what it's at stake as well as the championship?
I don't think so. I think we've been playing kind of, with our back against the wall since that Air Force loss. And so it's kind of every week it's that championship mentality. If we want to, achieve our goal, we got to keep winning. And so it's kind of that same mindset going into this week, which is nice. We've been doing that for the last 6 or 7 games.
You started off this season, with kind of, rash of interception turnovers and stuff, but of late you've cut that down significantly. What do you feel like has been the key in reducing those interceptions?
Yeah, I think just focusing on it, just taking care of the football, just making that a mindset. We gotta take care of the football, and that was not acceptable. When we had those big turnover games, and guys are making plays down the field for me. Wide receivers are making great plays. Jay's been great with the football, and our up front, our line's been doing a great job gelling together and protecting me. And so it's a combination of things, but I think mainly it's just a mindset of we need to take care of the football, or we're not going to win too many games.
What concerns you most going in, 24 hours out, going against Fresno this time around?
They're hungry. We beat them the first time around, and it's hard to beat a team twice. So they're going to come in with all they got, and like I said, they're very physical up front. They got a very athletic secondary, and they do a lot of different things schematically that's going to be challenging for us. And so we just got to go in with that same mindset and try to match their physicality.
I think I talked about this at the beginning of the year. You go in the meeting room every day and look at Kellen and Zabransky and Tharp looking over your shoulder or whatever, and you look now and you've got a chance to finish as the career leader in completion percentage here, and I think you're third in pass efficiency, and a chance to break Dinwiddie's record for yards in a season of total offense. Does that mean something to you that you're playing at that level now? You're kind of joining those guys a little bit?
Yeah, but I think we needed that. This team needed a quarterback that could lead them, and I would like to think I've done a decent job with that lately. And so we got to continue that tomorrow night. But I think the most important thing is we're winning games, and we have this opportunity to play for a conference championship. And to me, that means a lot more than those other records.
Quarterbacks always gets pinned on winning, and to be a senior quarterback leader of the team, that conference championship is sort of the thing you need to call this a success and be really happy with what you've done here.
Yeah, absolutely. This is kind of the last go around on the blue for me, all the other seniors, and something that this program hasn't done is win the outright conference championship, and that's been our goal since we entered the conference. It's been the goal for a long time, is winning the conference, and we haven't done that outright, so it's something that's going to be big for our program.
Everybody, a lot of people talk about your leadership. You named team MVP the other day over a guy who's run for 2,200 yards or something. What have you done? Where did you kind of step up and lead this team?
Yeah, I just kind of found my role. Just being that leader and just making sure everybody's in the right spots, just making sure the team chemistry is going well, and I've tried not to do anything too special, just continue to play like I know I can. But everybody else on the offensive side of the ball and defense has had my back this whole year, and I couldn't thank them enough for that. But the true team chemistry is what helped this whole thing go, and that starts with Coach Harsin and the way he runs the program, and you can definitely see that in our wins this year.
I think I remember talking in the spring that was going to be sort of an adjustment for you, that leadership role. How have you gotten better at it and sort of grown into that role this year?
Yeah, I think I've grown just since that Air Force game. I can remember standing there and just kind of with my helmet in my hand, just kind of not doing anything, and I told myself, I'm like, I can't let this happen, and I need to do something about it. So I had to get out of my comfort zone a little bit and talk, and even, you don't have to say anything too crazy. Just keep talking to those guys, and hey, we're doing well. Just be positive at all times, and if we need to fix something, I got to go talk to them. I can't, settle for that. And so that was kind of the turning point for me, I think, leadership-wise, was that game.
It's also when you guys lost your offensive captain. Did that put a little more onus on you as well, that you didn't have Matt out there with you anymore to kind of share that leadership role?
Yeah, absolutely. A guy that's played so many games and has been so experienced. Has been a great leader for us, going down. It's kind of the next man up, and I needed to try to fill his shoes the best I could, and so we needed that on the offensive side of the ball.
To be, it's one thing if it's random position, where to be the leader of the team and be taken off the field in a situation like that. How hard is that to kind of lose control of it? You can't affect anything at that point.
Right. Yeah, you can't do anything on the field for sure. But I think just being positive and keeping those guys going on the sideline, in the locker room afterwards. I think we had a lot of season left, a lot of football to be played, and just for them to see me, not go in the tank, because a lot of guys can do that, I think was big, and I couldn't thank my teammates and my coaches enough for having my back and sticking with me that whole time.
The natural thing in that situation, it seems like, would be to get conservative. And you've used the word, Mike Sanford's used the word aggressive, that you've been more aggressive and more quicker decisions, things like that. How did you make that adjustment in a situation where a lot of guys would be like, okay, I don't want to throw the ball because something bad happened?
No, I think I kind of switched my mindset of being too careful and trying not to force things, being hesitant, and I think that leads to bad things. I think I've been, aggressive enough to where I'm still making good decisions, but just kind of cut it loose and not worry about what happens.
Could you imagine 8 weeks ago this is how the season would have turned out, 7 straight wins and sitting here playing for a conference championship?
I'd like to think so, but I had no idea. I don't think anybody did. I knew if we just took care of business, we'd have this opportunity, but I didn't think it would end the way it is, and we're excited about it, and like I said, it's been our goal, and it's exciting that we have this opportunity.
You said something the other night. Did you play a basketball game the night of the Fiesta?
Yep.
The last Fiesta? Who were you playing?
We were playing North Marion High School.
How'd you do?
I think we won, and everybody. I was kind of bummed we had a game that night. I wanted to watch the Fiesta Bowl, but that was the last time we played in it.
Did you get to watch any of it?
I think I caught the tail end of it. Yeah.
Who'd you play in basketball?
Point guard. Yeah.
And doing something on Darian and his interceptions. He's approaching school records for interceptions. Play against him all the time, I assume, in practice. What does he do that gets to quarterbacks so much?
Yeah, he's really good at disguising what he's doing, and he's very athletic. He's very instinctual, and he's great around the ball. And like I said, it's great practicing against him every day, because he makes me better, and I would like to say I make him a little bit better. So it's a good battle, and it sure is nice to see him, come up with a big turnover in a game.
You empathize a little bit when you see him, like the one last week seemed like he was just kind of waiting for that ball to be thrown.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I've been there.
Yep, absolutely. But it's nice when it's our guy getting it.